Well, hello guys, it's your girl Diva Fashionista bringing you a heavy topic. I tend to shy away from topics like this only because it brings a lot of trolls, it brings a lot of drama, and I usually try to keep my channel really peaceful. I feel like we can agree to disagree, but just in an adult, mature way. So I tend to, shy away from topics that I feel like are going to be so controversial. But in all the things that I've been seeing about this case, and if you don't know, talking about the Carlishia Hood and the tragic death of Jeremy Brown happened out in Chicago. And yeah, like I feel like my opinion on this topic is important because I haven't really heard this and all the things, and this has been content. This has just been content for days and days. If you go on TikTok right now, there's probably someone live talking about this right this very moment. That's all I've been seeing and just different things. And I just feel like this was avoidable. And I don't really see people talking about what I'm going to talk about, so I really just kind of want to try to briefly touch on. I have 4 talking points. Shout out to Queen Shama. I got that from her. So 4 overall talking points, and I want to try to get into each one briefly. I don't really want this video to be super long. So first and foremost, I want to talk about self-defense because I saw a lot of people saying that this wasn't self-defense. I think I need you guys to just know that self-defense is not unilateral. It's not a federal law. It's a state law. So your state governs what is considered to be self-defense and what isn't. So know the law in your state and know what duties that you have and what rights you have in your state. So in Illinois, where this happened, defense of oneself, also the duty to flee. They don't have stand your ground, but they also do not have duty to flee in the state of Illinois. So she done it. I saw a lot of people saying like, oh, she should have just walked away. She could have just walked away. She should have just shut up. She doesn't have a duty to flee for it to be considered self-defense. So knowing that, I'm in New York. In New York, you do have a duty to flee, which basically means if you can get away, you should get away. You need to run. You need to try to first flee before using deadly force or defending oneself. So just knowing that, I just wanted to touch on that first and foremost. Know the state in the law in your state. Period. That's the first talking point. So now let's kind of get into the details of what happened. I'm pretty sure by now we've all seen the video, and I just find it weird that we can all watch the same thing and still come away from different conclusions. I hear people saying things like she shouldn't have put the kid in that position. Now where I disagree is that if you watch what happened, she's at the counter, Carlishia's at the counter, and she's kind of looking and talking over her shoulder. So that means that Jeremy begins from behind her. You don't see him in the frame. If you're looking at the CCTV, you don't see him in the frame. So a lot of people are like, she should have shut up. She was in that man's face. They were so quick to call her every bad mom, ghetto black woman trope. So quick to call this woman that. And as the facts are coming out, we're like, ghetto where? Like, where are you getting this from? It was just by her appearance, because people were also saying like, oh, well, she should have had the toolie on her. She shouldn't have called her son in. Now, I don't see anywhere in the tape. And again, that's where I feel like, unfortunately, with this not going to trial, because if you don't know, the charges were dropped. I think everyone knows at this point. She was initially arrested on the 18th, charged with first-degree murder, contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Bail was set at like $3 million. It was crazy. And so she was released, I believe, Wednesday she was released. All charges were dropped because, as I'm pretty sure the prosecutors look at social media too. The prosecutors look young to me. If that's young black woman that I saw, it's the prosecutor. She looked young. She probably on social media. She has family who's on social media who's like, look at this. Here are the details. They got to see the video and they're like, oh no, okay, yeah, this is not yeah, this is not this. I think that they said they didn't meet the burden of proof. Pretty much, I feel like under the state law, it was justified. It was justified. But I also know that they probably knew they would not get a jury to convict, let alone get an indictment. So the charges were dropped in the situation. But I still hear people saying things like, well, that wasn't self-defense. The mom should be in the jail. There's some people, it's like, it's split to pretty much 95%. So 95% of people feel that they got this right. They're glad that the charges were dropped. Then there's about a 3% that of people, every now and then I see someone comment like basically they feel like the mom should still be in jail. Then there's like the 2%, like the people that's like they're both guilty. This was not self-defense. They both deserve to be in jail. They need to go to trial. That was murder. Like once he fled, it was murder. And I don't agree with that. I don't. Once he was shot, right? He's beating this woman. And once he was shot, he didn't fall to the ground. He didn't slump and go, oh my goodness, oh, I'm hurt. Oh, who's shooting me? He ran out of the premises. So the young man is 14. We're assuming that this 14-year-old is capable of critical thinking. Everything happened so fast. They're saying that there was a text message that this mom told this son to come in and shoot him. I want to see the text message. That's one of the things that I need to see the text message. I doubt, even if she was the worst, if she's the worst type of person, she's the worst mom ever, I doubt she told that boy to come and air this man out. Because at this point, she hadn't been hit yet. I don't even see where she would have had time to text him. But if there's a text, I need to see what it reads. I want to see what it says. If she says air him out, then now we may get the details in this case because she is suing, because she feels like, and a lot of people feel like she should have never been arrested. I do not agree with that. I think that in these situations they do need to get to the bottom of it. Someone lost their life, weapon was fired, she should go to jail. But then in cases like the case out of Florida where the lady shot through the door, she wasn't arrested. Like the case with Jordan Neely, his murderer was not initially arrested. So in seeing these cases like that, a lot of times we feel like we don't receive, as Black people, receive justice. We don't get the same type of treatment. But I feel like we need to take all that into consideration when we get into situations like that. Just knowing that the law is not always blind. It's not always fair. So we have to be very careful. And I know there's a burden. That's a burden and it's hard, I know. But knowing what we know is better to err on the side of caution. It is. Personally, I've seen a lot of victim blaming. I do feel like Jeremy is a victim, but I also feel like overall that Carlishia is the victim. She's the bigger victim. I'm more sympathetic towards her in this situation because that man beat on her. That man yelled at her. He was obviously the aggressor in the situation, even if people feel like that she started it. I do not think that she started it. Honestly, that is still murky. Actually what led up to the argument, because I saw on TikTok a woman claiming to be there, and she said that Jeremy thought that she butted the line. Those were her words, that it was thought that Carlishia was skipping, but she placed her order like probably in the app or over the phone, so she just went straight up to the counter. Someone else, I was watching Paris Milan, I was watching her video, and a caller called in and said that she got her food and she was telling them that they made the food incorrectly, and that Jeremy became mad because he felt that she was taking too long and she was holding up the line. Jury's still out on that, but the initial story that we got, that basically that she texted the son to come in to air that thing out, I just want to know, come on, even if you believe that, who saw the phone? Where did this story come from? Because who saw her phone? Who would have been close enough to her to see that she was texting anybody? Because if you watch the tape, there's no one close to her until he gets into her face and he's yelling at her, and then he assaults her, which happened all very quickly. They say the girlfriend was there and she was laughing, she was egging it on. And that was another thing. They're saying that once they were outside, now when the part that they are showing, once they're outside, there's only the son and the mom. That's the only people you see in the frame. So who would have heard her or seen her saying, shoot the girl too? Now, can I believe that? Yes, that I can believe. I can believe that maybe she was so upset in the moment. It was like, shoot her too. Especially if they were together and she was egging it on. I can see that. That's just terrible. That is terrible. And I'm grateful that the son, he was able to restrain himself. He was able to keep the gun, because it looks like she tried to grab for the gun at one point and he doesn't let her. So he's even more of a hero in my eyes for being level-headed at that point and being able to keep the gun away from his mom. If that was her intent, was to do more damage, I commend the son. So me personally, I don't feel like I would be in a situation like that, because I'm not arguing with no man. Me personally, I'm not arguing with no man, especially no stranger man. Did y'all see how that man cocked that arm back? And did you hear the impact of his fist connecting with her? And he could, each one, he cocked back and connected each time. Now, I grew up fighting. I grew up in the hood. I've seen all type of situations like this. I've seen a lot of craziness in my life, and that stuff, those experiences made me the person that I am today. I grew up fighting. We had to fight. All my life I had to fight. I did. And I got some hand skills, but I don't have that force behind that punch. I don't have that. So knowing that, I'm not arguing with no man. I am not. What I have left, I probably would have. I probably would not have left, but I probably would have just stepped aside if he felt, if whatever the situation is true, whether she cut or whatever it is, I would have stepped aside. Especially seeing that he was upset, I would allow him to go. Come on, place your order. I can wait. I can, go ahead. I'm not in a rush. Go ahead, and I've done this. In times where people have felt that I cut or said, oh, I was here first, go right ahead. And you see, they get so upset. I was here first, you're skipping me. Go, no problem. Go ahead. I'll wait. Like, I can always wait, because I take it as that maybe those extra few minutes in the store is going to keep me for something where I would have stepped out in the street and got ran over. I would have bumped into somebody, got mugged or something like that. Those extra minutes, it's fine. I'll wait. Just to keep the peace, I'm going to step back and I'm going to wait. That being said, I've worked retail for a very long time. I've done seen it all. I think I've seen it all in all the time that I work retail. And in retail, you're gonna wear many hats. I've been a preacher working as in retail. I'm a preacher. I've been a child care provider. I've been a mediator. I've been a therapist. I've been a stylist. I've been a fashion consultant. I've been anything that you could possibly think of. I've been loss prevention. I've been all types of, I've been a detective. I've been all types of things in my time. You're going to see a lot of things. You're going to deal with a lot of different people. And the key to it is keeping your head in situations. I want to know, if I was there, if I was behind the counter and I saw two people behind the counter, at no point did they intervene. People were saying, well, none of these men, there was men, there was all these people around and no one stepped up. As a woman, I don't expect a stranger man to defend me. I'm being honest. I don't expect that. I don't think that someone is just going to, just put themselves in harm's way for me. But what I think needs to happen in these situations is that we cut these situations off at the knee. We need to prevent these situations from getting out of hand. There was an older gentleman in there, and I don't expect him to fight off the young man, but I do expect him to, in his wisdom, he is an older gentleman. He should have a certain level of stature in society. He should command a level of respect just because of his age. So I do expect him to be able to say, hey now, son, or all right now, y'all, calm on down. I expect that he should be able to show up in that way and be respected. I do expect for someone like him or people to speak up when they see situations like this happening. I put more responsibility on the establishment than the patrons. The establishment, you're supposed to keep the peace in your establishment. Where was the manager? Where was the owner? Who is in charge of this? I saw 2 gentlemen behind the counter, and no point did someone say, hey, I'll take your order, you could come over to me and I'll deal with her. That would have squashed it right there. If he would have got service, if someone would have just addressed him and given him whatever service he needed and someone helped her, that could have solved the problem from right there. I'm telling you, because of my retail experience, I've definitely had situations like this where customers were arguing and I had to be immediate. I had to jump in. I've had to tell 2 grown women to shut up and stop arguing, that they were behaving atrociously in front of a whole bunch of people and children, that they need to stop, and they need to stop right now, or they needed to get out. If they didn't stop arguing, no one would service them. And this was me as a cashier. That's who I show up as in society. And I see people saying like, oh, we mind our business. Nobody mind their business like a New Yorker. But I'm going to tell you that from experience, from the things I've seen, from shootouts to fist fights to loss of life, I'm always going to show up as that person. I'm always going to be an advocate. I'm always going to be that person. I am always going to be the one that's going to speak up. If I was there when this was happening, what I would have done in the situation is I would have said, hey, guys, once it was starting to be a back and forth, before it became aggressive, before it became violent, once it was just a back and forth and people upset, I would have said, hey, guys, I've had a long day. I had a long day at work. I'm sure you guys have. It's Father's Day. Everybody just wants to get home, and I'm just tired. Please, can we just call it a truce? Let me tell you what I'm going to do. Let me take care of your dinner for you. Let me take care of this. If we just leave each other alone. Just leave it alone. I would have positioned myself in between them. I probably would have appealed more to Jeremy because he was the more of the aggressor in the situation. He was the one that was upset. So I would have probably more spoke directly to him and just been like, hey, let me take care of what you getting. I love the pizza here. You want the hot dogs? That's what you getting, the hot dog. What you getting? Hey, pretty lady, what you getting, pretty lady? Okay, so that's what you let me take care of it. Just like, I know. They be bugging. I know they be bugging. I know how it is. We all been there before. We all been skipped. I get it. But, my man is waiting for me. My man he in the car, and I just want to get in, like, just quickly as possible. I want to get home. This is what he want for Father's Day. You a father? That's how I would have handled that. I would have inserted myself in a smooth way. I would have handled the situation. That's what we need more. We need more of a sense of community. We need more of a sense of what's right, of being there. We gotta have more empathy for others, where we think that this could be my brother, this could be my nephew, this could be my son, this could be my daddy, this is somebody's daddy, this is somebody's son, this is somebody's loved one, right? Somebody's loved one did not deserve to be toe tagged. Well, maybe he deserved it, but could we have avoided him being toe tagged that night? Yes. And if someone would have stepped up and just been a mediator, would have been an advocate in that moment, this all would have been avoided. We need to get back to that. And that is my main point of this video. We need to get back to having a sense of community, having empathy for others, putting ourselves in others' shoes, and thinking that I'm not going to mind my business. I'm not going to just fall back. And I'm not saying beat somebody up for somebody. I'm not saying that. We just got to, hindsight is 2020. We got to be able to have more foresight. We have to be able to see and think that this could get ugly real quick. Anything could have happened. That son could have came in and wound up airing everybody out. There could have been way more lost life. All those people could have been shot or targeted, because I don't trust the aim of the 14-year-old. Anybody could have caught a stray. So we need to avoid the situations getting out of control. So always be that person. I am always going to show up like this. This is who I am. I don't regret. I'm here to tell you that this is what I do. I don't want this video to be so super long, because I would give you example after example, and I'm waking up my baby. I will give you example of times where I have done this. If we want to go live and we want to talk about it live, I probably will do that. But I can tell you a time and time again, this is who I am. This is who I show up as. And I encourage you to be that way. When we see these situations happening, do not let them get out of control. Let the person go ahead of you. You know, see what the problem, try to provide a solution in the situation so we don't have more Jeremy Browns. Yeah, those are my overall thoughts. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section. This is still just a tragedy. I think it's a tragedy. It's not fun or funny. I don't like the jokes being made. I feel bad for that young man's family. I also feel bad for the Hood family. This is not fun or easy. It's not a laughing matter. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching.